In short order, the man brought Delius to the bridge of his vessel, which once again seemed fairly impressive to Delius. Much more straight and to the point than the vessel of the Solari, but seeming quite advanced. After a short time of speaking with the appropriate people and Delius giving them permission to close in on the core world for the purpose of investigation, using Delius's official clearance to do so, they rapidly began to make their way towards Hagara. Holy shit, you were not kidding, the man said as he began to approach, and the massive fleet of Solari worshippers orbiting the world came into view. So you really just have these guys hanging around your planet? The man said, looking over to Delius. You're not concerned at all about that? No, not really, Delius replied. I have a rather firm relationship with the Solari running this fleet. I'd say we're on good terms, to say the least. Well, that's surprising. I didn't expect you for somebody who could actually get along with the Solari. Once I told them that I wasn't one of their god races, the only thing they wanted to say to me was, get the hell out. Kneel down, bow before me. I am God. It was very annoying. How the hell did you get around it? The man said, looking over to Delius. Well, I am one of the godly races. So they generally simply accepted me, as well as all my other people, as fellow gods. Holy shit, really? The man replied. So, does that mean you're on the same power level as them? I mean, are you capable of the same type of crap? Because I gotta tell you, trying to fight one of those fuckers, well, as I said, it's a monumental pain in the ass. Difficult hardly describes it. Are you telling me you guys are on that level? You can seriously tussle with one of them. Well, I don't know about tussling. I've never actually had to fight a Solari. I'm actually surprised that you're still alive, if you have. It's impressive. Did they try to melt you and burn you away into ashes? Because that's how I was greeted. I mean, it didn't work, but they did try. Oh, they did that? The man replied. Yeah, they did that with me too. And you survived it? Delius replied, raising his eyebrow. Were you freaking kidding me? Oh no, I didn't survive it. I got melted down to a beaded pile of scrap. Or at least that one did. Ugh, thank God for backups. Backups? What are you talking about? If you got melted down to a beaded pile of scrap, then how are you standing here? Delius said. Oh, it's really pretty simple. I have what you might say is a sort of fail-safe. You see, I've learned to make myself really hard to permanently put down. Don't get me wrong, this body of mine can withstand one hell of a ring of punishment. But the Solari are able to put off the ambient heat and radiation of your average star. So standing right next to the one, when they're doing their little glow show, is about the same as standing on the surface of the sun. Not something that my body's rated to handle. Thankfully enough, my brain is able to wirelessly connect with that of Titan, so I can move my consciousness from place to place. And my body is more or less simply a physical habitat for my consciousness. I can make a new one to replace the old one, or even have multiples if it really suits me. It's very complicated, so I'm not going to get into it. Long story short, I may have fought with a Solari, but in terms of sheer power, it had me outgunned by a wide margin. Let's just say, outright power isn't the only thing that matters in conflict. I was able to pull a win in this situation, but it did come at a hefty expense. And I mean hefty. A lot of resources went into that crap. But hell, a win's a win. What about you? How'd you fare with yours? I mean, I know you didn't fight, but how did you make it out of that whole situation? And how did you manage to stabilize your relationship with them? I mean, some pointers would be nice. I'd like to be able to deal with them a little bit better, the man replied, looking over to Delius. Well, I suppose being a godly race probably helped me out somewhat. I am curious to see this strength that you're talking about. I'm wondering how it compares to my own. I don't really know how they fight, but Mazaroko is definitely good in bed. So, by the experience I was having, I'd say she's pretty sturdy. At least on par with my people. I didn't seem to have to go easy on her at all. Whoa, hold up. You threw down in some under-the-blankets action with one of them. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. You just blew my mind. I don't even know how that's possible. You know what? It's just distracting right now, the man said, shaking his head a bit, as they finally began to approach the planet. Okay, Titan, what do we got? Give me a full scan, and tell me what you got on the readouts. Alrighty then, scanning now. Oh, that's not good, the female voice replied. What's not good? The man asked. Well, I'm utilizing scanners at maximum capacity. However, I'm getting, well, an astonishing amount of counter signals and interruptions, feedback, radiation interference, gravitational distortions. It's just a run. It's like everything that could possibly block a signal all piled into one place. Gravitationally, this place has the same pull as an Omega-level star. That alone is enough to extremely hinder our scanners. But it's also off-putting some sort of radiation, an immense amount of it. And it's proving troublesome to cut through, the female voice announced. Come on, Titan, don't give me that crap. I promised this man an impressive display. 3-hour time limit. We're already half an hour in, the man replied. Hey, I'm working on it. But by the looks of things, this is the best scan that I can currently take, the female voice announced as a holographic display sprung to life in the middle of the room. As Delius looked it over, it seemed to be about at the same level as the scan taken by the Solari. As Delius sighed, I shouldn't have gotten my hopes up. By the looks of it, this is no different than what the Solari are able to get. Whoa, hold up. Don't get so judgy so quick. I'm not a man to be easily outdone, the man said, straightening his leather jacket a bit. So, the Solari are able to keep up with this, huh? Well, they must have upgraded their scanner tech. Well, it makes sense. It has been a few thousand years since I came in contact with that last one. So, I suppose the only way to get a more accurate scan is to kick things up a notch. It's going to take a complete rebuild. And I need a way to resolve the issues that are going on here. So, I'm going to need to draw in as many resources as possible, both physically and data-wise. We'll start with the basic scan, and work our way up. Titan, I need a complete ship refit, retro design. I need the ship reformatted. I want to turn this whole goddamn thing into one massive scanner. I don't want a single molecule of this massive-ass planet to go undetected. Make whatever changes need be, but make it happen. Your wish is my command, the female voice replied, as suddenly Delius felt a shift as the room he was in began to shake and shudder somewhat, as the holographic display changed to a readout of the ship he was in. Now restructuring. New structure type, analytical model. Perceptual, signal, temporal. Perception levels, maximum. Reconfiguring, the female voice announced as the shuddering continued within the room. And as the shuddering continued, the hologram began to change. It almost seemed as if it was breaking apart, separating into pieces that were beginning to move about, completely changing the way the hologram appeared, breaking itself into segmented pieces, 4 of them moving forward as they shifted about, beginning to take place towards the front end of the vessel. And as they cleared the very front in the hologram, Delius's eyes looked out of the front port to see absolutely massive structures moving into position in front of the vessel. This holographic display wasn't some sort of a pre-coordinated plan. It was a live broadcast of what the ship was doing in that very moment. Analytical appendage arms set, reformatting designs for maximum scan detection and interference breaking, recoordinating neural net quantum drive for maximum information processing speed, reconfiguration, finishing in 10, 9. The woman's voice began to count down as the changes, massive changes to the structure and shape of the vessel began to solidify into a single format, like a single cylindrical design with 4 large separate vessels that seemed to orbit the front, each one seeming to glow this blue radiant light from many of its surfaces, but unattached to the ship, free to swirl and move about as they wished, opening and closing in segments as different rays of light poured out of them, things attaching and detaching and moving in ways that Delius had never expected to see. Reformatting complete. We are now a Category 5 detection vessel, able to penetrate even the densest of interference. If this doesn't penetrate and get us the information we need, nothing will, the woman's voice said, as the man smiled, staring down at the planet in front of him. Nice to hear, Titan. Engage scan. Maximum strength. If there's something to know, I want to know it, the man said with a smile, putting his hands on the back of his head, as the whirling outer rectangular rods began to pulse with countless different arrays of light, sending off what looked like waves of energy, different types of lights flashing by, moving in coordinated patterns and structures. It was a display unlike Delius was ever prepared for.